You are about to receive a message from someone who knows exactly how your life turns out. Not a psychic, not a guru, you. A version of you that already has everything you are desperately chasing right now. And the fact that you clicked on this video tells me something about you that most people would never admit. You already suspect that your current reality is not your final one. Future self-letter wealth. There is a technique spreading across the internet right now that is making neuroscientists uncomfortable. People are writing letters from their future selves, and something is happening. Their brains are literally rewiring. Their bank accounts are shifting. Their entire identity is transforming. And I am going to show you exactly why this works, the science no one is explaining, and how to do it in a way that actually activates something deep inside your neurology. But I need to warn you. What you are about to learn might make you realize that you have been the one blocking your own breakthrough this entire time. Most people journal about their past. They write about what happened, what hurt, what they hoped for. But there is a fundamental problem with that approach. You cannot solve a problem with the same level of consciousness that created it. Traditional journaling keeps you anchored to who you are right now. It reinforces your current identity. But this technique flips everything. Instead of writing from your present self looking forward, you write from your future self looking back. You sit down and you write a letter as if you are already the person who has achieved everything. The wealthy version, the free version, the version who solved every problem you are losing sleep over tonight. You write as if it has already happened, and you are simply remembering. And here is what makes this different from positive thinking or vision boards. This is not fantasy. This is a documented neurological phenomenon called prospective memory activation. Prospective memory activation. Your brain cannot fully distinguish between a vividly imagined future and an actual memory. And that distinction is about to change everything you think you know about manifestation. But what exactly happens inside your brain when you do this? Your brain has a problem. It is wired to keep you exactly where you are. Neuroscientists call this your default mode network. It is the part of your brain that runs on autopilot, recycling the same thoughts, the same beliefs, the same financial ceiling, day after day. 95% of your daily thoughts are the same ones you had yesterday. That is not a metaphor, that is neuroscience. But when you write a letter from your future self, something remarkable happens. A study from the University of California found that people who engaged in future self-visualization showed increased activity in the ventromedial prefrontal cortex, the same brain region that activates when you recall real autobiographical memories. Your brain starts building what researchers call a temporal bridge, a neural pathway connecting your present identity to your future identity. The brain does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. The more detailed your letter, the stronger that bridge becomes. Your brain begins treating your future wealth, your future freedom, your future confidence as something it has already experienced. And this is where most people are getting the technique completely wrong. Here is the uncomfortable truth. You do not get what you want, you get what you believe you are. Identity. Every financial decision you make, every opportunity you see or miss, every risk you take or avoid, is filtered through one question your subconscious asks on repeat. Is this who I am? If your identity says you are someone who struggles with money, your brain will sabotage every path to wealth. It will find reasons. It will create anxiety. It will make you procrastinate on the exact actions that would change everything. But a letter from your future self does something no affirmation can do. It does not try to convince your present self that you deserve money. It creates a memory from a version of you who already has it. Identity rewired from within. Psychologist Dr. Hal Hershfield at UCLA proved that people who feel more connected to their future selves make radically better financial decisions. They save more. They invest more. They delay gratification with ease. If this is starting to shift how you see yourself, hit like and subscribe to reprogram more of your money blocks. The next piece might be the one that changes everything. Because there is a specific way your brain processes these letters that most people completely miss. Your brain operates on prediction. Every second of every day, it is not reacting to reality, it is predicting it. Neuroscientist Dr. Lisa Feldman Barrett calls this your brain's predictive processing system. Your brain is not a reaction machine. It is a prediction machine. And this is why the future self-letter technique is so devastatingly effective. When you write a detailed letter from your future wealthy self, you are hacking your brain's prediction engine. You are feeding it new data, new expectations, new assumptions about what is normal for you. Your brain begins predicting wealth instead of predicting struggle. Think about what happens when you expect to be broke at the end of the month. Your brain finds evidence for it everywhere. It ignores opportunities. It justifies bad spending. It keeps you in the loop. But when your brain has a vivid letter from a future version of you who is financially abundant, it starts scanning for evidence of that reality instead. It notices opportunities you were blind to before. It makes decisions from abundance rather than survival. Predict wealth, not poverty. And this is not theory. This is predictive coding. But there is a critical mistake that turns this powerful technique against you. Most people who try this technique fail, not because it does not work, but because they write the letter wrong. They write wishes disguised as letters. Here is what that looks like. They sit down and write something like, "Dear present me, in the future you will be rich and happy and everything will be perfect." That is not a future self letter. That is a daydream with punctuation. Wrong. The technique works because of specificity and emotional anchoring. Your future self does not write in vague promises. Your future self writes with the casual confidence of someone remembering. 1. Write specific details about your daily life. 2. Include emotions you feel, not ones you hope for. 3. Mention challenges you overcame, not avoided. 4. Reference specific dates, places, and amounts. 5. Write with gratitude, not desperation. The difference between a letter that rewires your brain and one that reinforces your doubt is the difference between remembering and wishing. Your future self remembers. Your future self does not hope. When you write with the certainty of someone looking back, your subconscious cannot tell the difference. That is the trigger. And there is another layer to this that specifically targets your relationship with money. Here is where this technique becomes dangerous, in the best possible way. When you write a letter from your future wealthy self, you are not just visualizing money. You are programming a new money identity at the deepest neurological level. Wealth is not attracted by the person who needs it most. It is attracted by the person who resembles it most. Your future self does not write about wanting more money. Your future self writes about how natural wealth feels now, how they remember the moment their financial ceiling shattered, how they look back at you reading this and smile because they know exactly what is about to happen. Wealth identity activated. Here is a line from a letter that went viral online. Someone wrote from their future self, "I remember when $2,000 felt like a lot. Now I spend that on a Tuesday without thinking, not because I am careless, but because abundance became my baseline." That one sentence did more for their money mindset than 10 years of affirmations, because it did not ask the brain to believe something new. It gave the brain a memory to reference. Affirmations talk to your conscious mind. Letters talk to your subconscious. But there is an emotional component that most people completely overlook. Neuroscience has proven something that changes everything about this technique. Your brain does not store memories based on facts. It stores memories based on emotions. Emotion. This is why you remember exactly where you were during a life-changing moment, but cannot remember what you had for lunch last Tuesday. Emotional intensity equals memory permanence. And this is exactly why your future self letter must be soaked in emotion. Not the emotion of wanting, not the emotion of hoping, the emotion of having already arrived. As the brilliant neuroscientist Dr. Antonio Damasio explained, we are not thinking machines that feel. We are feeling machines that think. When you write your letter and genuinely feel the relief of financial freedom, when you feel the calm of knowing your bills are covered forever, when you feel the quiet confidence of generational wealth, your brain encodes that as real. The emotion is the code that programs your subconscious mind. Feel it before you see it. People who cry while writing their future self letters often report the fastest transformations. The emotion is not a side effect, it is the mechanism. And what happens after you write the letter is even more extraordinary. Something strange happens in the days after you write your first future self letter. You start noticing things. Not because the universe is sending you signs, but because your reticular activating system has been reprogrammed. What you focus on expands because your brain deletes everything else. Your reticular activating system is the filter in your brainstem that decides what information reaches your conscious awareness. Right now, it is calibrated to your current identity. It shows you evidence of your current financial reality and blocks everything else. But after writing a detailed, emotional letter from your future wealthy self, that filter shifts. Suddenly, you notice the business opportunity in a casual conversation. You see the investment article you would have scrolled past. You feel compelled to reach out to someone who turns out to be exactly the connection you needed. Your brain starts building the bridge between where you are and where your letter says you already are. This is not magic. This is neuroscience working exactly as designed. People are writing these letters and watching reality rearrange itself around their new identity. Not overnight, not magically, but through a cascade of different decisions made by a brain running new software. But knowing this means nothing if you do not implement it correctly. Here is the protocol that is producing the most dramatic results. Pay close attention because the details matter. Protocol matters, details win. First, choose a specific date, not someday, not in 5 years. Pick December 31st, 2028. Write it down. Your brain needs a deadline to build toward. Second, write the letter by hand, not typed. Handwriting activates different neural pathways than typing. It forces slower, more deliberate processing. The hand is the cutting edge of the mind. Third, write in present tense as your future self looking back, not I will be wealthy. I am wealthy and I remember when I was not. Fourth, read your letter every morning for 21 days. 21 days is the minimum threshold for neural pathway formation. Not because 21 is a magic number, but because repetition is how your brain builds new default patterns. Fifth, and this is the part most people skip, write a new letter every 90 days. Because as you evolve, your future self evolves with you. The letter you write today should be obsolete in 3 months because you have already become the person who wrote it. Evolve. That is when you know it is working. When the letter feels like a memory instead of a fantasy. And that brings us to the most important part of this entire video. Right now, somewhere in the world, someone is reading a letter they wrote to themselves 6 months ago, and they are crying, not because they are sad, but because everything in that letter came true. Not because of magic, not because the universe conspired, but because they gave their brain a destination. They handed their subconscious a blueprint, and their neurology did what it was always designed to do. It closed the gap. Your brain is the most powerful manifestation tool ever created. You do not need crystals. You do not need a guru. You do not need to meditate for 10 years. You need a pen, a piece of paper, and the courage to write to yourself from the other side of your breakthrough. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Write your future today. The technique is going viral because it works, and it works because it is not pseudoscience. It is applied neuroscience wrapped in the most human act possible. Writing a letter to yourself from the version of you that already made it. If you made it this far, comment future written if you are ready to write your letter tonight. Your mind is either programmed for wealth or poverty. Now you know how to reprogram it. Tonight, before you sleep, sit down and write. Not a wish list, not a prayer, a letter. From the version of you who already has everything. Write it with detail. Write it with emotion. Write it with the certainty of someone who remembers. Because that letter is not fiction. It is a preview. And your brain is already building the bridge to make it real. Your mind is either programmed for wealth or poverty. Now you know how to reprogram it.